For now, my priority is getting to India Bike Week before 10 o'clock, auxiliary lights. A lot of people have questions about whether they are legal or whether they are not. And then we have the entire valley ahead of us over here. Alright, we're back. Thank you for firstly sticking with the channel and supporting me. I know I am not very frequent with my uploads, but I appreciate your support nevertheless. There's been a few changes in my life, some positive, some not so great, which I would love to share with you in future videos, but let's just stick with the topic at hand this time around. India Bike Week has always been a special event for me. It's given me the chance to ride outside of my state, something that I would have preferred to do a lot more of than I have in the recent past. It also gives me the chance to reconnect with some of my close friends who I don't get to ride with as frequently as I would have loved to. And more than that, I think it also gives me the chance to meet new motorcyclists and some of you guys who support my content over the years. This time around, there were quite a few changes. Not only was the destination changed from Goa to Panchgani, which is about 5.5 hours from Mumbai, but there were also a lot of other smaller changes to my initial plans. I was supposed to ride down with my buddies, but then they ended up making alternate plans, especially considering the proximity of these India Bike Week dates now to Christmas and, well, the holiday season in general. Can't really blame them for that, but yeah, me being me, I didn't want to miss another India Bike Week. I missed the first one that was ever held, and I never missed anyone after that, so decided to attend this one, even if it meant riding alone. Now, I do have friends who are catching up with me at the event. For now, my priority is getting to India Bike Week before 10 o'clock so I can pick up my passes, relax for a bit, and then attend the event when it starts at about 1 or 2 o'clock. I'm told it's going to be really cold, so I packed mostly winter stuff that I'll be using. Kind of strange, you know, because otherwise you're always wearing shorts and a t-shirt in Goa, and then to attend India Bike Week completely covered is not my usual cup of tea. Man, sometimes I wonder whether the amount of suspension travel that we have on these adventure motorcycles in India is actually sufficient, because some of these potholes, man, they be doing crazy stuff, because it's like each road contractor has a competition about who can make the worst roads possible here, and most of them appear to be winning. Some of you might have realized that I'm using auxiliary lights in this video on this ride. Please understand that the DJI Osmo Action 5 Pro has really good night vision, and it picks up more detail than I was able to pick up in that real life situation. I usually don't use auxiliary lights or don't encourage using these lights in the city, and I think there's police who will also stop you in some cities and in some states if you do so. But when you see the next few minutes worth of footage, you'll realize how poorly lit NH66 currently is. And until that gets resolved, I think a lot of people will have to resort to using more powerful headlights and auxiliary lights to be able to survive and see what's ahead of them. This is the first time I'm using them on a long ride like this, especially with the filters, and I was cautious enough to make adjustments to how high they focus so that I'm not impacting oncoming traffic or vehicles ahead of me. I think I used this route earlier this year to drive to Goa for a personal vacation, but now riding to Goa on this road, I think this was eventually going to be the road that a lot of people would take to Goa if India Bike Week was happening in Goa. But yeah, I'm glad that we're getting to experience it nevertheless, even though we aren't taking it all the way to Goa. At least some amount of good roads to experience along the way. I think while we're on the topic of auxiliary lights, a lot of people have questions about whether they are legal or whether they're not. First thing to remember is that the lights have to be placed below your main headlight. So you can't be having them on your handlebar and having them flash everyone around you. I think I've seen a few scooters do that, and it will be a nuisance irrespective of how you look at it. Secondly, the wattage or the power of your auxiliary lights should not be more than your primary headlight, because if that's the case, then you'll end up blinding quite a few people. ahead of you and in oncoming traffic too. I think another thing worth talking about is the need for these massive screens on your motorcycles now. And I'm not talking about the stock ones that come fitted with the bike. I'm talking about the aftermarket ones with dash cams and what have you also installed. Call me old-fashioned, but yeah, I don't really need that. I think a Bluetooth headset with your phone navigating for you is more than enough. And what we currently have on the 390 Adventure, which is turn-by-turn navigation, like you can see on my dash right now, has been my go-to setup for a long while now. And while I do get lost every now and then, or as I would like to call it, go on a little adventure, I think for the most part, I'd say about 95% of the time it is accurate, especially in the city when you don't want to have your phone out and about, exposed to the elements and possible thieves too. Alright, we can finally see some amount of sunlight on the horizon. We have another 122 kilometers ahead of us before we reach our destination. It's been a pleasant ride so far, barring some trucks which have been slowing us down, but overall I think we've still made up quite some decent amount of time. Okay, what you're going to see over the next few minutes is probably one of the most memorable experiences that I've had on a motorcycle, especially riding solo. I never expected the journey to India Bike Week to be this epic, and you'll see over the next few minutes through the rest of the video why I'm saying that. I left at the perfect time from Mumbai. I didn't get any traffic. I experienced a lot of fog, which you're going to see in the next few seconds, and I think I got most of the road up to Panchgani from the left that I took off NH66 to myself. It gave me the chance to really play around with Riot on the twisties and also take my own sweet time to enjoy the view that I had. Just stopped for a minute to take in the view over here. Look at the amount of fog that's built up over there. And we finally got proper daylight now. I can switch off my auxiliary lights for a bit. My visor has fogged up quite a bit, so I'm just popped it open. As you can see, the mirrors also have fogged up considerably because of this cool weather that we're experiencing here. Have to try and be a little mindful about the amount of time that we're going to take on this road, because every single kilometer is an opportunity to stop and click pictures and record videos, but I have somewhere to be at 9:30, so I don't want to mess it up for everyone else who's waiting for me. But man, oh man, what a ride this is turning out to be, dude. Full tank, please. Quick fuel stop completed. About 8 liters or so went into the tank. Right, we've got about 35 kilometers worth of internal roads now to navigate through, and then we should be at our hotel. Road conditions so far have been excellent. I think there have been just a few patches here and there where there have been some bit of gravel. I think I left at the perfect time too, at about 4:30 in the morning, and didn't really get too much traffic. What lovely weather here, dude. I mean, I've said it multiple times on this ride, but I think the last time I experienced something like this is when I went to Kodaikanal. This is toe tingling weather. Lovely. gonna go have a nice warm shower and then head out to India Bike Week hopefully. 9:21 is the ETA now for me. 24 kilometers left of this memorable ride, dude. It's hard not to get distracted while riding on these roads, man, because there's just such beauty all around you. I have to find a safe spot to park the bike and just take it all in. This is something else, man. Yeah, that front number plate I think has come off a little bit. I'll have to tighten that once I get to stop. That, and I think one of the screws on the bash plate has come loose, so I'll have to tighten that too. Took a quick stop to take it all in. Look at that view, dude. There's some sort of water flowing from there, and then we have the entire valley ahead of us over here, and still some more mountain to climb. These are beautiful roads, man. Whoever is in charge of these roads over here has done an absolutely fabulous job. I hope they are rewarded and compensated well for it, because these are beautiful roads to ride on. While I'm sure the nightlife in Goa and some of the pubs and places that you can visit outside of the India Bike Week event in Goa add to the charm, I wouldn't be surprised if India Bike Week moves to Panchgani altogether, just purely because of the ride that bikers get to experience here. And what's a bike week without a memorable bike ride? I don't think it gets much more memorable than this. And this is by far one of the best solo rides I've had. By far. Alright, finally made it here to Lakeview. I believe this is where I'll be staying for the next 2 days. Now the long task of undoing all my luggage.